Hi, my name is Pastor Darren Garlett, and today I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to connect with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. These 5 tips will help you to create conversations and that lead to spiritual conversations with the intent of sharing Jesus and getting to know people from this background. The first thing to remember is that when Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people talk to you, they may not have direct eye contact with you. And so this is part of respect, that they will show respect to you by actually not looking at you directly into your eyes. And so that's a big part of their culture. And so be comfortable with speaking to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people when they're looking somewhere else and they're talking to you. It means that they're still listening to you, but eye contact is something that they are respecting. And if you do have eye contact with them, it's actually taken as a way of a negative as well. So just be mindful of that. Be comfortable looking in other places, but speaking and listening. Second thing is showing a genuine interest, and that's really all about getting to know them, trying to not so much ask all the questions. What do you do for a living? Who's your family? Who are your people group? Who are the traditional owners? All these kinds of questions are good questions, but they have a right time to be asked. And so firstly, for the Indigenous person, is to simply find out what is their cultural heritage, which people group do they belong to. And this will open up the conversation about their identity and where they fit into their worldview, and where others around them have importance or have a connection to their country as well. And so that's a good starting point, simply asking them about their cultural heritage, and they will be able to share with you what people group they are, whether they're living in the city or whether they're from the country areas. Every Aboriginal person knows their identity, and so they're able to share that. The second thing is learn a little bit about Australia's Indigenous history. We know a lot about colonisation and the stories that are associated with it, but we don't often know a lot about Aboriginal Australia. And so understanding what the term country means to an Indigenous person, because that word country means not just the land where we are, it's their cultural ties, it's their identity, it's their people group, it's their family, and it's their practices. They are all tied in together. And so just understanding this concept of country is very important. Also be mindful that there are Indigenous people who have been removed from country, and so they may not have those cultural ties. They may not have that connection as many others do. And so that's an important part to acknowledge as well. The next thing is ATSIM, our ATSIM Ministries, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Ministries here at the Union, has lots of resources that will help you connect with people. Whether it's people in the street, in the shopping centre, or just somebody that you've run into and you feel that you're impressed to share something with. Such things as good news magazines, we've got postcards, posters, we've got tracts, we've got little books. These are all tailored to connect with Indigenous people. So reach out to our ATSIM department or to the resource centre and get yourself some of those resources. They will open up doors immediately to have spiritual conversations. The next thing is start conversations by simply finding common ground and what their interests in. Indigenous people have a variety of interests, just like anybody else. And so I think just, those basics, getting to know people, what do they like doing, what are their likes, what are their dislikes, having those conversations. Those conversations then can lead to spiritual matters. And Indigenous people are very comfortable with talking about God, with prayer and so on, spiritual aspects. They're very comfortable in talking in that space. Also understand simply the terms that I'm using. I'm using Indigenous, I'm using First Nations, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander. These are all terms that are accepted and used, and they're interchangeably. Some are more used than others. So even other terms such as us mob, that's when an Indigenous person is talking about themselves and their family or their networks. It's those kind of words that they relate to. So understanding some of those terms and being comfortable in asking questions is also important. Finally, the last important thing is prayer. Prayer is considered something that's very important to Indigenous people. It's always the case when we have spiritual conversations that prayer is part of that closing conversation, because we understand that we not just talk about God, not just experience God, but it's okay to actually talk to God, and we could do that together. And I've had many opportunities where we have met people, had a conversation with them, and all of a sudden we're praying with them. It could be in the shopping centre, it could be anywhere on the street, whatever it may be, sitting on the park bench next to them, whatever it might be. But Aboriginal people are comfortable with prayer, and so it's always good to ask them in closing, is there anything I can pray with you about? Is there anything that you would like me to pray for? These kinds of things, and they will respond accordingly, and they will actually want you to pray, and they'll want to pray with you. And so there's a few tips that will help you to connect with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander ministries and its people. Thank you.